CU Boulder police are still investigating a sexual assault that happened in a freshman dorm earlier this week. Campus police have a new position, a victim's advocate, that goes with police to these types of crimes. 9 News reporter Luis De Leon explains the difference that makes as fall semester approaches.
The sounds of CU Boulder's campus ring loud once again. But as students make their way back,
traumatic events happen every day, and CU Boulder's community is not exempt.
Awareness, not only for those traumatic events, but for resources if they happen.
And so we wanted to see how can we continue and increase support for survivors.
To do that, Jessica Ladd-Weber, director of CU Boulder's Office of Victim Assistance, created a position where a victim advocate goes with police to calls for things like sexual assault and other traumatic events.
They could bring a victim advocate with them to check in about safety, emotional wellness, going over their rights and options.
That can make a big difference in the moment.
And so when police respond, they are an authority, they are there to take information, and so to have an advocate who's there completely focused on the victim's well-being, while the investigators and detectives are getting facts and information they need to do their job, it helps make the victim feel more supported.
Over the last year, the person in the victim's advocate position has responded to more than 100 victims and witnesses, hoping to provide support for every one of them.
People have been appreciative for extra support, someone checking in, following up with them, connecting them to other resources. It's been received well.
So the position is also designed to educate police on victims advocacy, as well as help create a sort of bridge for survivors to counselors and other resources. Alex, in one instance, if a suspect, for example, is not initially arrested in a specific case that they're responding to, and that suspect could return to where this crime happened, that advocate could then work with officers to create a safety plan also.
And the emotional support they are able to provide for victims is incredible as well. And it's good they're getting this in before school even begins. First semester can be rough as far as this goes.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right, Luis, thank you. Just a reminder that there are resources and support available for survivors of sexual assault and abuse. You can call the Colorado Crisis Services 24/7 hotline. That number, 844-493-8255. The organization Blue Bench runs a hotline to support survivors specifically of sexual violence. That number also on your screen, 303-322-7273. Can your Google searches be used to get you charged with a crime? Well, a judge in Denver is going to decide just that as lawyers for a suspect in a deadly fire try to get a key piece of evidence thrown out. In 2020, a fire started in Green Valley Ranch in a home, killing a family of 5. Police found it was intentionally set, but the case went cold until Google led them to 3 teens who were arrested and charged with murder. Police say they found the teens after serving a search warrant on Google, looking for computer addresses of people who searched for the home's address leading up to the fire. A lawyer for one of the teens argues it violated his Fourth Amendment. A CU criminal law professor says this hearing is raising a lot of complicated issues.
There is a world in which the court could both find that this was an illegal search, but still pursue the suspects with the evidence they found in their home and other evidence they found through investigation.
The judge's decision is expected at the end of October. That trial could begin sometime in January. Tonight, a send-off at DIA for a United Airlines employee who was shot and killed on I-70 last month. 31-year-old Kevin Piakowski was driving home from work on July 31st when a teenager who he didn't know shot and killed him on I-70. Police arrested that teen last week. Tonight, friends and co-workers sent Piakowski's remains off. They pushed the plane off, as Piakowski always loved to do on the job. His remains and family are headed to California, where he will be put to rest. You might have had a hard time seeing the mountains today. Wildfire smoke blew in from Colorado, from Idaho and Montana. An air quality alert expired for most of the metro and northern part of the state, and most of that smoke will fizzle out over your weekend. More shower and storm chances are possible across the state, though. A flash flooding just went into effect in Boulder County, just northeast of Johnstontown and south of Lyons. Lauren will have more in her full forecast in just a bit. As we talk about those flash flood risks, they're continuing throughout the weekend as well. Today through Tuesday, the Cameron Peak, East Troublesome, Calwood, Williams Fork burn scars are all under flash flood threats. Colorado panel is getting ready to take on the most controversial name change in its 2-year history, Mount Evans. Colorado Geographic Naming Advisory Board is ready to start looking at 6 proposed name changes. They want to strip the name of former Governor John Evans, who authorized the Sand Creek Massacre in 1864. According to our partners at the Denver Gazette, the names proposed are Mount Sky Blue, honoring the Arapaho and Cheyenne people and their ancestral land, Mount Cheyenne Arapaho, Mount Rosalie, Mount Sisti, or just keep the name Mount Evans but redesignate it in honor of Ann Evans, the former governor's daughter who worked to preserve Native American art through the Denver Art Museum. The board will begin reviewing the names at the end of September. Here's a question. Why didn't police go in? That's the question that still remains for so many, certainly parents, after the school shooter killed 19 students and 2 teachers in Uvalde, Texas. Police waited more than an hour before going inside. Now, as 9 News reporter Nelson Garcia shows us, parents in Colorado are asking those questions too as school restarts for the first time since the tragedy.
It's called speed. You have to go fast.
Feeling safe, like at home, should not be up to chance.
Stop.
Kenzie Abbott
I'm sorry.
and her twin brother Braden are both juniors at Cherokee Trail High School in Aurora.
I'm nervous to go back to school because you go to school never knowing what'll happen that day.
Concerns at Cherokee Trail stemming from something that happened or didn't happen more than 900 miles away in Uvalde, Texas.
You should be able to rely on a quick response from the police. That's the one thing that you should rely on.
The one thing the mom of 2 wants is answers.
That's the question. Have we thought of everything?
Leah Abbott questioned district leaders about who makes the call to go in after police waited more than an hour before going after a school shooter in Uvalde that left 19 students and 2 teachers dead.
I want to know who that person is, or I want to know if the district knows who that person is.
It could happen at our school, it could happen at any school.
We do have a plan for response, and we do have a plan for management and command of that scene.
Ian Lopez directs safety and security for the Cherry Creek School District.
We will respond in, we will have command and control over that scene, we will be working together.
Lopez says in school buildings over the summer, his team, along with law enforcement from several jurisdictions, trained together in active shooter drills.
I want whoever responds to take the initiative and just go.
We all train in that same manner to make sure that we can operate in that situation and everybody understands what those protocols are.
Sheriff Tyler Brown with Arapahoe County says deputies will go in, no hesitation.
Not all law enforcement agencies operate the same way, and one of the things that we're most proud of is our training in this area.
Training and lockdown drills.
Security alert, lockdown, lockdown, lockdown.
That Kenzie and Braden hate.
Lights.
Because yeah, you can hide in a classroom with the lights off, but everyone knows that procedure, including school shooters.
It definitely causes me anxiety, and it makes me more scared to go to school. And I understand that we need to have the drills, but they're still scary.
That's important to me, right? I don't want to cause anybody anxiety.
Lopez wants to give students peace of mind.
So it'll give us 2 layers of secured doors. It'll give us a secured area to contain visitors.
This year, school entrances are being enhanced.
All classroom door locks will now either have a push button or a twist lock that can be easily secured from inside.
And every room will have something schools have never had before.
We have bleeding control supplies.
They're called red bags that have tourniquets and bandages packaged with a QR code that activates a secure communication system via cell phone.
Train our teachers to check in by clicking the prompts,
sending real-time information.
So I'm going to say 1 and then simulate how many students are here with me, so I'll say 10.
Lopez says this is a game changer for first responders.
We have the ability to talk or communicate directly with each classroom. That was something that we never had been able to do before.
He says it's relief for those waiting and wondering while hiding.
The worst part of the lockdown, other than the incident itself, is not knowing anything. So having Red Bag gives us the ability to give them information.
Here's all the things that we did over the summer. Here's all the things that we have practiced over time. Here's what we learned from the particular Uvalde shooting.
Superintendent Chris Smith says the start of the first school year after Uvalde is a crucial time to address parents' and students' concerns.
Safety and security is our #1 priority in the Cherry Creek School District. So what I would say is trust us.
Trust that there is a plan.
If the police take that long to get there, the lockdown drills aren't effective.
And I feel like more parents should be questioning it more.
As a parent, I have to feel secure that when they leave, they're going to be as secure at school as they are at home.
In Aurora, Nelson Garcia, 9 News.
The Red Bag program cost almost $270,000, but it was all paid for by a state grant. The superintendent believes that Cherry Creek schools are the first district in the nation using the red bags. Aurora and Denver's 6th gun buyback event is tomorrow. It will be at the Living Water Christian Center in Aurora from 10 in the morning to 1 p.m. After the guns are collected, they will be melted into gardening tools. At the first 5 events, over 600 firearms have been turned in, according to the city of Aurora. This is totally anonymous, meaning no questions asked. All they do ask is that you store unloaded weapons in the back seat or your trunk when you drive up.
Everything I owned was gone, from my shoes to my prenatals. Everything was just gone.
She's pregnant and on the streets and says every sweep on Denver streets is setting her back from finding stable housing. Own an Apple device? Update it like now. The serious security threat that could let hackers control it. Flight delays and cancellations continue to grow into the Labor Day weekend. Today, a stern warning for airline CEOs.